Thousands of American servicemen and women are returning home with catastrophic injuries. In addition to the medical care they receive, there is a unique program aimed at helping our wounded veterans regain their physical and emotional independence. Since 2006, Patriot Paws has provided service dogs free of charge to veterans throughout the United States. Clay Rankin is one such soldier. His service dog, Harley, from Patriot Paws, has changed his life.
Harley is an extension of my body. He's everything that I'm lacking or missing because of the injuries that I sustained when I was in Iraq.
Sergeant Rankin fractured his spinal cord during a firefight in Afghanistan in 2003 and suffered serious head injuries in combat in Afghanistan and Iraq.
There wasn't a doctor around the corner to go to. I mean, we were on combat missions, and it was a constant day in and day out thing, 17 hours a day, and it finally catches up to you. And without the service animal, there is no independence. I'd be dependent on somebody else the rest of my life. The only reason I continue to walk is because of Harley. So he literally keeps me out of a wheelchair, and he keeps me from having to be in a scooter the rest of my life or being taken care of by a third party the rest of my life.
Patriot Paws began shortly after trainer Lori Stevens sent her own son off to serve his country.
Some veterans at the VA hospital in Dallas had heard about my training and experience as a service dog trainer, and they asked me to help them with their dogs that they were training. And once I met them and saw some of the dogs, I thought, this is what I need to do.
The program started with 4 volunteers, but could only train a handful of dogs each year. Lori needed more trainers who could devote the hundreds of hours needed to train a service dog. Her search eventually took her to Gatesville, Texas, where the Texas Department of Criminal Justice agreed to let inmates participate in the program. Inmates complete the initial training. The dogs then receive customized training for their veteran at Patriot Paws headquarters in Rockwall, Texas, and at the soldier's home.
Because we've got the prison program, we've got 25 female offenders working with us that can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, training these dogs.
Just as these dogs are changing the lives of the veterans who receive them, they are also changing the lives of the inmates.
A lot of people in my life have told me all the things I've done wrong. Very few have told me anything I did right.
It has taught me a lot of responsibility, something that I didn't necessarily have before. I've been on my own since I was 12 years old, and this program has taught me the responsibility that I need to be successful whenever I get out of here and not come back to this environment.
The inmates work with the dogs so they can help veterans deal with the everyday challenges of life.
Say your prayers. Bow your head.
Patriot Paws dogs perform daily tasks that prove difficult or impossible for soldiers because of their injuries, such as opening and closing doors, picking up and retrieving items, positioning wheelchairs, helping with chores such as laundry, and providing assistance in getting dressed.
Once we started meeting the veterans and seeing actually, it wasn't just a matter of doing tricks, it was actually a matter of assisting someone to live and to be independent for themselves.
I was assigned to one, and he has 2 prosthetic arms, and he's burned over 70% of his body, and it was just like, he always smiled and he looked you directly in the eye, and I was just amazed by that. And when the dog started performing for him, I had never felt anything like that, nothing more satisfying.
Often, it's the invisible injuries that create the greatest challenge for veterans and provide the best opportunity to help. A trip to the store can be stressful for a veteran with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Sergeant Brian Field is a single parent raising 2 children after losing his legs to an IED in Iraq. His dog is named Justice.
It's more of a PTSD thing where you getting around large crowds kind of makes me nervous, and people don't always see me on prosthetics in larger crowds or groups, or even at Walmart on a busy day, which is kind of unavoidable. And I can be pushed over really easy.
Because of his multiple head injuries, Clay Rankin doesn't get hungry and sometimes forgets to eat until Harley reminds him.
He'll bring me his dog bowl. He'll go get his dog bowl off the ground, he'll pick it up, and he'll bring it to me and throw it in my lap. That's how he reminds me to eat.
The service dogs are also trained to recognize and avert PTSD episodes and to get help in the case of seizures.
They get to know their owner and they can smell the chemical changes in our bodies when we become stressed or anxious or whatever the case might be, and he can let me know. If I forget to take my medication, he reminds me. There's 2 times a day I take it, and he lets me know to do that.
We also teach them to get help. That's one of the most important cues, is if their person gets put in a position that they need help, they can send them to go get somebody and bring them back to them, or go get the phone.
I get the phone call saying, hey Lori, I didn't have to spend the night on the bathroom floor because he went and got help. Or hey Lori, he pushed the panic button, or I'm not alone anymore.
Archie was Clay Rankin's first Patriot Paws service dog.
Archie was actually able to sense when I was having a flashback and would punch me with his nose to redirect my attention so I wouldn't actually go into my flashback. If I was having a night terror, a nightmare, he would wake me up. If I was anxious, he would put his head on my lap like Harley's doing now.
And there's something about a dog's soft muzzle or the feel of his soft ears that makes the difference that we cannot explain. But I really believe that some of these dogs have saved some of these guys' lives just by being there.
Back in Gatesville, inmates and their dogs continue the 1.5 to 2 year training process. And even here, before they are fully trained service dogs, these dogs are helping to change lives for the better.
I've always done things for myself and for mine. This gives me a way to do something solely for someone else. And that's an incredible experience. You know, I gave up my independence and freedom by choice, but our servicemen and women, they lost theirs through sacrifice.
That's the very first time that I've ever really done something and saw the end result that was completely unselfish on my part. You know, there was nothing in it for me. I feel like I've earned a little bit of my self-respect back, and that's been through this program and what they teach us here.
The biggest help is around the house in the wheelchair, or if I need to take the wheelchair in public, she knows how to work with the wheelchair. She can get my wheelchair at home. She can retrieve my legs. She can open and close the doors at the house.
It's really good to hear stories, you know, the wives and the kids saying, thank you for giving me my dad back. And, you know, it's just, when I share my testimony, it's nothing compared to what they've been through.
Rhonda has completed her prison sentence and now works full-time as a trainer for Patriot Paws. Christina Melton Crane, the immediate former chairman of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, was instrumental in bringing Patriot Paws to the Texas Department of Corrections.
It has helped the security and safety of the unit. The correctional officers and the wardens love it, because to be able to even qualify to get into the program, you have to have a clean disciplinary record within the prison system for a number of months prior to applying. You then have to completely stay 100% clean while you're in the program. So that is such a great monitoring factor for safety and security within the prison system itself. I think the most important thing about this program is that by allowing the dogs to be trained by the offenders, you are saving lives. You are saving the life of someone who has taken advantage of the freedoms that they have, but now has been given a second chance to think through what they've done so that they don't make the same mistake again. And then you've changed another life in the free world who has already sacrificed so much for our country. So at the end of the day, the program saves lives.
I just want the public to know about Patriot Paws. It's a nonprofit organization, and we need the help. We need the help, we need the support, the veterans need it. And I would just like for us to just get the word out.
It really does work, not just for the veterans, it works for the inmates. It really does work.
Clay Rankin regained his mobility with Harley's help and hopes to return to work. He volunteers helping other disabled veterans. Brian Field is a more involved and active father thanks to his service dog, Justice. Luann Whitehead hopes to continue working with animals when she leaves Gatesville. Christina Crane is hoping to expand the program to other prison units. Lori Stevens wants to thank everyone who has supported Patriot Paws, but there is more work to do. There is a long waiting list of veterans whose lives could be changed by a service dog. To help these veterans, Lori hopes more people will support Patriot Paws. Patriot Paws needs your donations to help expand their life-changing work. Please visit patriotpaws.org or call 972-772-3282.